What's up you guys and welcome back. I'm FPL Nymphria and this is my FPL Blank Game Week 33 review and Wildcard 34 preview video. I couldn't be happier with my Game Week 33, so let's take a look why. Good old Fabianski. I was hoping for a hashtag 3.fab one last time before he leaves my team, but alas, given the mood Chelsea were in, well, Hazard was in, I'll take the 2 points from him. He got 5 saves from inside the box, so just missed out on that last save point. I will miss you, Lucas. It's been, well, consistent, let's say, if nothing else. Moving on to my defence, and Azpilicueta returned back to my team after hiding for a week under my free hit and David Luiz. I think I'd rather have kept Luiz, to be honest, because despite keeping a clean sheet, Azpilicueta got a yellow card and so banked just 5 points. He did have a shot off target and a key pass, but other than that, he wasn't worth the extra cash over Luiz this game week. That seems to be a general theme. Next up is Robertson. Now, I had a feeling Southampton would nick a little something against Liverpool, so I played Robertson for his attacking form, rather than his defensive one. He did have a key pass and had 6 long balls and 6 crosses, but no attempts at an assist or any goals, resulting in just the 1 point for him. I've had Robbo a while now. The temptation to switch to Trent is strong with this one. Talking of that, moving on to Obi-Wan. I welcome back Wan over Schlupp, and a nice healthy 7 points from him. I had a feeling for a clean sheet against Newcastle, hence switching Yedling out to my bench for Wan-Bissaka. He had a solid game with 8 clearances. Good to see him back to his bonus point ways. Let's take a look at my midfield, and I was back to my Game Week 31 team, and so Brooksy reappeared in my team. Unfortunately, it was Burnley's day against Bournemouth, with them winning 3-1 on Saturday, and as a result, despite 2 key passes and a big chance created, Brooksy got me just the 2 points. Then we have my Liverpool boys, and it was Salah who triumphed over Mane this game week, grabbing 6 points to Mane's 1. Salah's stats have been promising for weeks, hence me keeping the faith in him. As well as getting his goal, he had a shot blocked and had 2 key passes. Big decisions lay ahead. Can I afford to take them both forward for the rest of the season? This is going to be very difficult. Last, and by no means least, is Hazard, the wizard. In the last 2 game weeks, Hazard has single-handedly added 30 points to my overall score. Talk about coming back into form at the right time. Against West Ham, he had 3 shots on target, a shot off target, made 5 key passes and had a 93.6 accurate pass rate, resulting in 2 goals, a clean sheet, minutes played for a total of 16 points. That is amazing. Oh, Edin, what do we do with you now? What a headache we have ahead. Then we have my forwards, and it's all about my star man. Party party, party party. What a dude. I had a real feeling he would go big this game week against Huddersfield, and he didn't disappoint. I think it's one of the rare times I've stepped outside of the City or Liverpool captain this season. I haven't done it many times, and boy did Jamie keep me waiting for any returns. I was stressing just a little bit, it has to be said. But then in the second half, he went above and beyond his call of captaincy duty, and with 2 shots on target, 2 shots off target, 3 key passes, he managed 2 goals and an assist, minutes played and 3 bonus points for 16 points, doubled to 32 points. And I was in dreamland. Now, it has to be said that the news that Jamie didn't train coming out on Twitter did make me wobble a little bit. Somehow it made me move my vice captaincy to Mane from Salah by accident. So when Mane blanked, I really needed Vardy to start. But I just had a real gut feel for Vardy, and I've not followed that enough this season. Hazard, of course, matched Vardy's points, so either would have worked for captaincy. But with my worry over how Sarri would line up his squad, I just couldn't see past Vardy, to be honest. I'm delighted to have had both. It's done wonders for my rank. Just to round up my forwards, no one other than Vardy did anything really. Rondon and Wilson just getting 2 points apiece. It's worth noting that Wilson had some really good chances. He didn't finish them in the Burnley game, but his stats were really good and he still continues to look a promising asset. So a difficult one there considering he only has single game weeks going forward. Especially with no double, I fear he might be the fall guy in many wildcard teams. So after all that, I finished on another very, very good green arrow and I am buzzing. Such a great game week. I'd forgotten what this feels like. I had a 45+K rise in OR and just squeezed into the top 100K, being currently sat at 97,057. On my bench, I had a few blank game week players with only a yellow Yedlin who did actually play but got 2 points. This is an area that definitely needs to get strengthened on my wildcard with so much rotation ahead. For those keeping track of my team budget, I hit my wildcard early and managed a couple of early rises already, so I currently have 105.4 in team value. So now onto my wildcard 34 team, and I think at this point so early in the week I'll just give you my initial thoughts. I'm sure European games and press conferences will ultimately decide my final wildcard team, but here is provisionally. There's a few things you'll notice with this team, the main one being that I have not gone all out on double game week players. Why? Well, because in the last double I did that and I could have done a lot better if I kept some of my informed players and just added to it with a few doublers. So that's my key aim this time round. Also, I love to go against the grain, you know me, and I love to be a bit batshit crazy, as you all know. So, you know, there's a lot of people going all out on doublers. I figure I'll do something a bit differently. This wildcard for me has to last me the rest of the season, not just 2 game weeks. I almost think I went a bit too early with it if I'm honest, but as I've committed, I want to make sure I leave myself some wiggle room. So top priority for me is this: keeping my Liverpool assets and getting in City assets. They are fighting it out for the league and every game is a must win. That to me means they are a must own. I will aim to get in as many golden boot runners for the same reasons. I'll aim not to sell informed players even if they don't have a double. Vardy will be in my team at least one more game week, I should imagine. At home to Newcastle is a great fixture. I might also double with Talesman, as you've seen. This is also why Eden Hazard might have to be considered given his recent form. I also hope to leave cash in the bank to swap players. For instance, this team at the moment, as lined up, leaves 4.7 in the bank for future transfers. I am also not prioritising game week 35 as a bench boost week anymore. If I like the bench boost that week, I will use it, will go for it, but I will now just use my chips whenever I feel like they're appropriate. If there's another game week where I see that my bench looks just as nice, I'll bench boost then. I'm really not feeling that I have to do it in a particular week. For instance, I might prefer to use my triple captain that week, but we'll see how it goes. Once I have my key informed players in your likes of Liverpool, Leicester, maybe even Chelsea or Everton, I will fill the rest of my team with doublers. Teams you might like to cover like I have done, and the key players from those teams are, and all these prices are correct of time of filming and you should see them on screen. Spurs have Man City and Brighton in the double. Kane for me holds the fear factor. I'd like another look at him in the Champions League before locking him in for so much cash. I've seen lots of triple ups on Spurs. It's not for me, but the fixtures are great. Eriksen is largely going under the radar, so you could consider him, and Sonny is always worth a shout. In defence, Lloris is probably the cheapest, most nailed way in if you fancy a risk, though. Trippier could be your man. I don't know, I can find Lloris sometimes a bit shaky. I'm considering him, but I'm not sure. And with Trippier, you have to consider rotation. There is always Alderweireld. Southampton hold some great cheap assets and play Watford and Newcastle in the doubles. We all know who the cheap defensive assets are, myself having Valerie and considering Gunn at the moment. In midfield though, Redmond, Ward-Prowse and Hodgberg all offer great fillers for your team. Brighton hold the double-double of course, and I know this is where many are investing. Again, I think the defence is probably worth the bulk of the interest. Let's not kid ourselves with clean sheets here, but sheer numbers of games could be worth the punt. Ryan is a cheap goalkeeper and rotates well with other keepers until the end of the season. Duffy being the standout in Brighton's defence of course. Dunk offers just as much much attacking threat, but talking to my Brighton correspondents, Dunk carries risk of more cards, so just be careful with that one. Other than that, Knocker has piqued my interest in the last few weeks, and I was impressed by Basuma in the cup. Murray could be a shout, but he's quite expensive and you take your risk with any attack from Brighton when it comes to rotation and return. So that one's all on you guys. Arsenal have Crystal Palace and Wolves. Tougher sides than they look on paper. It's quick and simple from me. I don't rate our defence. I don't like the risk, so I'll be going nowhere near that. It's Alba or Lacazette for me, but given I have no idea who Emery has preference over here or in the Europa League, I doubt I'll risk them in the double, to be honest. I might do though for the last run of games, but that all depends on how the Europa League goes. Here's a team I think that are mostly going under the radar. Man United I think are the most overlooked team for the double. Their form recently has put a lot of us off. For me, there's only a couple that I'd be interested in, and that's Rashford if fit, Lukaku or Pogba. But, you know, Everton and Man City are not the easiest fixtures, but they could be a shout for points, you never know. And Lukaku against his old side, anyone? Might be worth a shout. Now, the only person I'll consider from Cardiff is my pre-season punt 4.5mm Camarasa. Could definitely be worth a consideration, but remember his double is this coming game week 34. It is not in game week 35 with the others. Wolves face Brighton and Arsenal. I fancy Wolves to take it to Arsenal personally. Top picks from Wolves being, of course, Jota, Jimenez and Doherty. No need to complicate things. One or two of these for me will do it. If you're feeling frisky, you could always triple up. Lastly, Watford are the headache for me. I definitely want some Watford players. We'll need to see how Deulofeu is on this injury because he's my pick at the moment and has been for the best part of this season since arriving. Deeney, though, loves a goal against Arsenal and is quite cheap up front. I've seen a few teams with him in. And let's not forget Doucouré with his 2 goals in 3 games. And you could always consider Foster in goal. But in terms of their cheap defence, we are going to have to see on fitness for most of the Hornets' cheap defenders because a lot of them are yellow flagged at the moment. I haven't included City in this list as to me they categorise in the must-have in-form players and are not fillers but are actually essential for me. There's only one in my initial draft as you guys seen, but I will aim to have 2 for the double. I know people are considering KDB. He could be a great differential, but I doubt I'll stray from Sterling, Aguero and Laporte, to be honest. 2 of these 3 for the double is my plan. Now, I realise City face Spurs and Man United, so defence is a worry, but Laporte offers some attack and I'm not yet sold, but he does love a double, so we'll see what happens there. Of course, a Sterling and Laporte or Aguero and Laporte is a lot cheaper than a Sterling and an Aguero, so that's why it's my consideration. And that's it, you guys. That's my summary. I hope it helps. Please, if you've enjoyed my content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you can place your vote for me in the Football Blogging Awards, I'd be extremely grateful. You should see how to do that on screen now. I'll let you guys know what I've decided to do with my Wildcard team via my usual social media channels, Twitter and Instagram, and you can catch how I got on in my next video. Please support me by joining Fancy Football Hub with my code in the description below, and as always, feel free to check out my sponsors fancyfootballfix.com. And I love hearing from you guys, so make sure you get in contact in the comments below or on those social media channels. And until next time, Nymphria out.